What is good, people? I just wanted to come on tonight and talk a little bit about free agency. Obviously, with the Redskins, there ain't much to talk about because all we've seen is the Landon Collins deal, which, hey, what can I say? I was actually pretty happy about. But I figured I would come on and talk a little bit on the chat tonight, maybe to get a little bit more comfortable with how things work live wise. I've only done maybe one live stream on here, so let's see what's up in the chat. Let's say what's up to Shelton Young and Eagles fan 2002. What's happening? Um, what's happening? Shotgun Shell, Braylon Rago. What's happening? Or Rago? Is that Rago? Sorry. Well, one thing to talk about, we did have a few Redskin players get signed today. Um, Preston Smith, well, altogether we've had three. But Preston Smith with the Packers, Jamison Crowder with the Jets, and Ty Nsekhe with the Bills. Now, I'm not sure how the comp picks work as far as if they work on total value or if they cancel out as based on player per player. But it looks like we'll at least be able to get maybe one comp pick out of this because I'm not really certain the Redskins will really do any more damage on the free agency market this year unless they really get into some contracts and restructure them. I do think that they're focused on bringing Ha Ha Clinton Dix back though. What's up, Big Simple? Man, I'm going to tell you, I don't know what is going on up there in New York. It does appear like they have definitely committed to a rebuild. That's for certain. What's up, Road Dog? It definitely looks like that they have committed to a rebuild for sure. What's up, Wahoo Brad? Almost missed you there, man. I was over here testing some stuff out earlier and had a mishap and clicked the button and actually went live earlier. I saw Brad had actually commented. Like, it actually made me chuckle a little bit. My bad. Um, but Nsekhe for 7.7 guaranteed in Buffalo. That's a big deal right there, man, for real. Um, the Bama roster. Yeah, I hear you, Shotgun Shell. You thought I was live earlier, Brad? I hit the button accidentally. It actually wasn't going, but it was going. I don't know what the hell. OBJ to the Browns. Hey, man, what in the world? I know that the Browns, wow, the Browns got good. In 2 years, the Browns went from bad to wow. I tell you, Shell, they probably going to try to add maybe one more in the draft. They get their hands on them. As far as Bama players go, I actually like the idea of Cam Sims playing a little bit more of a role with the Redskins next year as wide receiver. Um, I guess when you really look at it, I mean, I'm no Bama fan. Don't get me wrong, but when you really look at it, Bama just has tons of talent coming in their program. It's hard for you to miss with a Bama product. I mean, it is. We even have a couple that got hurt or didn't really play the role at Bama, but they're still, you know, 5-star athletes that didn't make it, so to speak. Yeah, I like Thompson a lot. I really do. I actually saw some tape on him the other day. Somebody was trying to tell me they thought maybe he could play another position. Maybe he could play corner. Talking a little bit more about Landon, I really think that the Redskins could perhaps maybe use him in a spot where they shift him to linebacker some, more in a hybrid role. I mean, at 222 pounds, I mean, that's a pretty good sized guy at safety. Yeah, you did tell me. Like really, I think we could get Haha back on maybe if he would be willing to structure his deal with the first year being small, or if maybe he would be able to do a 1 year prove it with us. I think that it's got to be enticing to him, And how you doing there, Pooh Bear? But it's got to be enticing to Haha to be able to come back and I mean to look at all of his former teammates or his former Bama alumni and think to himself, I could play with these guys and take it to another level. And I mean, Landon Collins is a leader on the field. I know a lot of Giants fans had fallen, to the point out of graces with him or whatever, had fallen to the point where they didn't like him. But Landon really wasn't getting the most out of his, himself on the field on that team. They don't really have the pass rush that Washington is trying to put together. In my opinion, Collins should be able to bring his talents to Washington and be able to tear it up. That's my opinion. I know he didn't have a great year at least last year. I know his year wasn't that great. I've been trying to break his tape out a little bit and take a look at it. I might actually do a little bit of a film session. Been playing around with this little program I got and figured out I had this little whiteboard program that, I could do separate stuff with. But anyway, Cole Beasley going to the Bills, I thought was pretty crazy too. Well, not crazy, but different, I should say. Let's see. Look at this. I wanted to look at this real quick. So, what's everybody getting into tonight? I had a question for any of the Redskin fans that are in the stream. Do you guys think that Landon Collins should be allowed to wear the 21? That's a real question. Oh, definitely has all the talent. Yeah, I mean, the talent is unreal. That's for certain, I think. I mean, obviously, nobody's ever going to be, is ever going to be Sean. Me personally, I really don't want to see the 21 back on the field again. I would like to see maybe him do the 36 for a year, see how great he does. We almost ended up with a pretty bad situation. I think if Sua Cravens would have had the 21. I know that Landon Collins is not Sua Cravens, but think if we'd have had him having the 21, that doesn't sound very good. But anyway, here's something on Ty and Seki they're showing. Yeah, Cravens, exactly, maybe 20. Yeah. I'm really kind of pissed off that we haven't done anything with AP yet. I mean, what is going on with Adrian Peterson? Why is nothing happening there? And how you doing, Seti? By the way, I see you in the stream there. I actually am going to take a look at that on the film, Seti, because I haven't been able to look at a lot of your games outside of the East games, and I definitely have heard you guys say that he is not good whatsoever. So I want to be able to see more of it on my own, so to speak. But at the same time, I know that you guys wouldn't lie about it, especially more of the level-headed fans that I've heard say it. Bad Dog, I've heard you say it before, I believe, in Bad Dog Stream in the comments, and I've heard the Entertainer talk about it, and I've heard several other people mention it as well, that he wasn't very good against tight ends. Now, I will tell you though that some tight ends in the NFL, you just can't match up against. I mean, Jordan Reed is one of them when he's healthy. There's nothing that can, you can do with him. When he's on and he's basically a wide receiver playing tight end, there's really no stopping somebody like Jordan Reed. Of course, he's got to be clicking with the quarterback and he's got to be healthy. And there are several other tight ends that are that way. Gronk is that way as well, but Gronk is starting to break down a little bit because he's kind of a big guy. Maybe he's not built for so many years. And, how much is Gronk really into getting ready for games anymore? He looks like he's ready to either, party all the time or do something else. Reed is a definite defensive nightmare. From what I could gather, AP wanted to play for the Redskins. I mean, that's what I was thinking. I was under the impression that it was just a matter of his people talking to, their people, and it was going to happen. That's a good question, Braylon. That is a good question. I often wonder what the Bengals are smoking anyway. You have to really look at that organization and try to figure out what's going on there. And they got to be kind of pissy right now, looking at Cleveland getting ready to be good for the next however many years. I mean, Cleveland looks really good right now. I mean, good lord. Um, I would hate to be in the AFC North right now, looking at that roster. The weapons they have. Look at the. They got running backs. They got wide receivers. My mind's pulling a blank on their running backs right now, but I know they picked up old boy they got cut by the Chiefs. I know they got him, and I know they got Chubb. Yeah, I mean, oh, I bet heads are spinning in the Berg. Now, where did Bell sign, or has he signed yet? I haven't seen anything on that yet. I really had missed that part. Let me see here. Did Bell sign somewhere? You guys? I know I was here in Baltimore, but I never heard any more. No, it doesn't look like he signed. No, no sign. Okay. Yeah, I mean Buffalo is putting in work this year too. I was really surprised to see Frank Gore get another contract. Heard the Jets was talking. Okay, okay. Yeah, I saw an article earlier though talking about how they thought that maybe Collins had earned the right to be in the 21, and my thought was, I'm not so certain that's true. And of course, everybody knows why, because of Sean, and I mean there's been other players that have been in the 21. So maybe eventually that could be a number that's usable again, maybe one day. But I'm not so certain that could even happen, because Redskin fans get really emotional behind that number. I mean, the mere mentioning of somebody else wearing it and people ready to fight sometimes. I mean, I'm serious. This is serious business. And maybe it's because of what the team's been going through the last few years, and people, have really clung to Sean and the memory of Sean a lot, but it's that number being used again. I'm not certain the fan base would really be down for it. I'm really not. Well, Cattle Dog, the problem is that the history is so deep with the Redskins that if they started retiring numbers, then we wouldn't have any to give out, because it's what 80, what we 80, 88 years now, something like that. But it's almost to the point where you can't touch it. And I know the owner feels the same way. I know that Daniel Snyder is not a well liked person, but I know the owner feels the same way as we do. You know, like he probably doesn't want to see that number on the field again either. Now, if a situation happened where maybe like Sean's brother or something, I'm not saying it could happen, but or it would happen, excuse me, but if that were to happen, because I know his brother actually plays ball and he's really good and he's young still, but if it did happen, maybe then. But I don't know. I mean, it's kind of far fetched. It seems. I don't know. I know Redskin fans probably will never agree with it. Another interesting thing I saw, just kind of out of the blue, thinking about things. Brandon Sheriff is actually the lone member of the Redskins 2015 draft, still under contract at this point, since Ari Kunjo becomes a free agent Wednesday. You don't want to see it either, Simple? I hear you, man. It's tough to think about. Yeah, and I was trying to follow a couple of linemen, but I saw that Saffold or whatever is, I can't, is that how you pronounce his name? Saffold agreed to a deal with the Titans, so there that goes. But I think that the Redskins are going to have to depend on the draft to make things work as far as the line goes. I think we definitely need to bring back Jonathan Cooper, but you know, other teams in the division haven't really been doing a lot to try to better themselves either. But we need to get better on that line, at least depth wise. And I feel like we need to make a move at left guard. Um, Sean Laval doesn't. he needs to go somewhere else. I'm actually hopeful that we don't do anything with him. Yeah, let's see there. Collins is the lonely one. Now, I will tell you, excuse me, I will tell you that I saw that Byron Marshall actually got signed to a restricted deal. I mean, it's not a big deal at all. It's just a league minimum. Sorry. Cattle Dog says I'm a Cardinal fan through and through. No Redskin fans should have that number unless they all wear it. I hear you. Yeah, Redskin fans are really emotional over that, and I feel like it's not something that they really should be forced upon. I know Landon loves Sean, so in my mind, I would think that he probably would think, hey, maybe I should try to work into this because I know that's how when Cravens came in, the first thought he kind of had was is he was going to go to the 36 and then pop to the 21 after a couple of years, and the fans were kind of like, okay, things didn't work out, and then DJ came in and DJ just wanted a 36. He didn't really go out to the 21. And I did notice today, yesterday, excuse me, DJ tweeted and said something like crazy how things go or something like that. I should have screenshotted the tweet and put it up. But he, he's got to be kind of scratching his head at this point with the way, things kind of flip-flopped and one Sean guy goes to another Sean guy. Kind of interesting situation, developing there, or, to me anyway. But I was hoping that we would be able to sign C.J. Mosley, but the Jets, of course, popped up with mega bucks with that. 17 per year is what his deal breaks down to, which is crazy. Oh, what's up, Tall Stack? I didn't see you in the chat there. Do I think Golden Tate is an option? I thought about Golden Tate at first, but then I started wondering about the money that Golden Tate has to be thinking that he's worth at this point in the open market with the way these deals are inflated. So I'm not so certain. I think the real reason why we were able to work a deal out with Landon because he really wanted to be with the Redskins. He really wanted to be in Washington for obvious reasons. So it was a little easier, to get him to agree to the long-term deal where we could stretch out his bonus. And then, of course, had that small hit, but he doesn't really feel it. That small first-year hit, but he doesn't really feel it because he gets a bonus, signing bonus, that is. And everything works out to where he gets more money than any safety's ever, been paid before, at least for now, because somebody will come along and get paid more. And I think everybody knows that. Is he wearing 26? I don't know, Tall Stack. That's something that I think is kind of up in the air with everybody right now. Nobody really knows anything. Obviously, the team's not going to say anything until Wednesday, at least, when they can make it official. But, that is AP's number. D Ford to the 49ers. Ooh, that's a good deal. I bet you they had to pay something there. Collins, though, is really good tackling. There's really just, no other way I could put it other than to say that Redskins defender, or should I say defensive backs? I'll say defender backs. I don't know why I said that, but the defensive backs were not very good at setting the edge. It seemed like they would come off the edge a lot, and the running backs come up, and block them up, and everything would just fall apart. And I don't know why our guys are like that. Maybe it was because one guy was not communicating with the other guy, shouting down to tell him to go this way or that way, whatever's going on. I believe they had a major confusion of communication going on that I hope they're working on fixing. And I'm thinking that's the reason, why they went out and really went overboard on Landon, because I think everybody can agree that we've overpaid for the guy. But we also can agree that that's what free agency is. And one thing you also have to remember is, even though he is going to be making $17 million in two parts excuse me, 2 years of his deal, he's also going to be going into a new contract year, or should I say, a new salary cap year, where the salary cap will increase each year progressively. You're going to have it come up 10 to 15 million probably next year, and then another 10 to 15 million the next year. So the salary cap number goes up, all of the contracts go up with it. So the market essentially is going to blow up. I mean, it really is. You think the 58 is cursed there, Cattle Dog? D-Jack's going back to Philly. Now, that's a damn good question. Let me tell you something, Brad. You know, D-Jax will be, 34 during the season this year? And we all know he's got burners, right? But we also know that he pulls a hamstring every 6 games, or, tweaks it or whatever. I mean, he's great. I love the guy. I mean, I think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's missing a ring, though. So my thought pattern is that he's chasing one. Now, I thought that he would try to push his way to the Patriots. That was what I thought he was going to try to do. Then I heard some whisperings about us and then about Philly. And I started thinking about it. So I guess you take Aguilar away, you put D-Jax back, and they're hoping for Wentz to come back from that back injury, or was it a neck injury or vertebrae injury, and be able to light it up. Hey, I can't blame them for trying to do it. I mean, at this point, they're throwing a Hail Mary. Why not? Now, I wish we could have got him, but I can just about guarantee that he would want too much money, or more money than we would be willing to give him per year in the position he's in. And I believe it's been, since he played for us, that he's had 1,000-yard, year. Of course, that could be because he was with Jameis down in Tampa Bay. It's very, very obvious, not a very good quarterback in my opinion. I know that Tampa Bay is leached onto him and is sticking with him, and I understand that's because it's hard to find a quarterback nowadays. But I don't particularly like Winston. Yeah, I don't know what's going on in Tall Stack as far as free safety goes, because Tall Stack says down to the question is free safety, because I'm pretty sure Monte is in the doghouse. He is definitely in the doghouse, at least with the NFL. There's no doubt about that. He's on the commissioner's exempt list, or whatever, the go sit down for now list, or whatever. Roger Goodell with his, you're 12 years old and I'm going to start smacking everybody on the wrist and pull the ruler out and start cracking knuckles crap. I don't know. I mean, I don't know really what we're dealing with here, but when Nicholson, he's doing wrong stuff, I understand, disciplining him. I'm expecting at least 4 games. Now, when that happens, he misses the first 4 games of the year, and in turn, if we were able to get Ha, then he'd be able to step right in. That'd be great. But if we can't get Ha, then we have to look to the draft, in my opinion, because the only other option is DeShazier. Listen to me, I can't even say his name. Everett. DeShazier Everett. That's a name to try to say 3 times in a row. David DeBoss 10. There you go, brother. How you doing tonight? I am completely blown away about Beckham to the Browns. I haven't had a chance to hear any of the Giants fans say anything about it yet, but I am completely blown away. We do have Troy Apke. He did get hurt last year. There are some people that criticize that pick because they thought he's just a workout warrior and the Redskins stretched out and got him they shouldn't have. But I actually liked what he brought to the table, it seemed like, when he got on the field, but then he got hurt. It seemed like that happened with everybody last year. I was kind of lost at how our training staff won an award. That really messed me up, but I'm not even going to go there anymore. I moved on from that. But I was thinking about it. because everybody always thinks, offensive splash move is coming or whatever, but because offensive splash moves, with no real reason, they actually bring hopes to people that points will be scored when they really won't. But a big time signing like this, it may not put the fannies in the seats the same way, but it will add to the win column. And I fully believe that. And I believe that's what the team needs. And I believe that the defense will definitely be better, as a complete unit. Some of these guys have played together, some of them haven't. But if we can sign Haha, that'll be 7 former Bama guys on the team at once, which is crazy. That's crazy. What'd you say, Tall Stack? Oh yeah, oh yeah. Uh, Odell Beckham got traded to the Browns, bro. What was it for a first round pick? This year's first round pick was a third round pick, and Jabril, what's his name? Is it Parker? I can't remember his last name. The safety they took from Michigan a couple years back. I can't believe that they made that trade. Oh, because your uncle's a Giants fan. I hear you, man. Um, I know that the main Giants fan I know on YouTube, or the main two Giants fans I know on YouTube, they've been talking for a while about they wouldn't mind it as long as the deal was right. So, there, yeah, first, third, and Jabril Peppers. Peppers, that's his name. I couldn't think of his name. My bad. And I'm not saying Peppers isn't a decent player, um, and that those aren't decent picks, but um, man, I mean that's a lot. Odell Beckham is, I mean, and you put him with Jarvis Landry too, his college teammate, and a lot of people have said that they might have been boyfriend and boyfriend. I guess I'm not trying to pick on them. I'm just saying that they're really good friends. I think that Eli might have won a semi power struggle there at least for a year. I think this positions, um, I think this positions the Giants to really have to push for a quarterback next year. Maybe even tank it this year, or go fully run the ball mode and try to stock up on line and do something with that defense in the draft. In my opinion, but Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham together is nuts. I mean, and they complement each other the way they play. I mean, phew, the AFC North is in trouble. I mean, imagine this though. Imagine if Le'Veon Bell signed with Baltimore. Imagine that. Just imagine that. You know. Yeah, the thing is though, shout out to Dim Dam Twins there too. I hadn't seen you in the stream before, but and Reaper One too. I see Reaper One up there. It's the first time I've seen you too. Um, but the thing about the Steelers is the Steelers have been able to get rid of a top flight wide receiver and then bring more talent right in behind it. And not really fall off that much either. Um, Santonio Holmes, I mean, Hines Ward. I mean, I just, for years and years, this has happened. Cordell Stewart. I mean, obviously, Cordell Stewart and these guys are not the same as Antonio Brown, but you guys get my point. For years, they've been able to bounce back. Now, Bell didn't play a whole year, and they had that Connor guy who actually did really good. The Browns are just stacked, though. You got to think about that for a second. It's crazy the way that's happening. But I could really see us. I said before in the last stream I did that I thought either we would go quarterback, wide receiver, or was it quarterback, wide receiver? I can't remember the other one, but I really have narrowed it down now to probably wide receiver or quarterback, depending on what slips to us. And signing Landon really tightens up that position for me. But I feel like if we can't get Haha in, then we need to definitely look at that position at the at least the second round to the third round. Maybe it comes back up again if we can't get Haha. It'd be nice if we could. I've seen him on Instagram and other places posting from inside the Redskin weight room this off season, and from what the beat guys have said, he wants to come back. The way that works out, I'm not sure. You know, does anybody think maybe Thompson might slip to the second round because of that injury he had before the combine? I mean, it's a possibility. Just saying, uh, it'd be nice. And I know that Hollywood Brown would be unreal. I mean, I can't help myself. I would love him being on a team. Uh, to me, he made, and I'm not trying to say Kyler Murray didn't look good on his own, but to me, he made Kyler Murray look unreal on the field last year. Several times, the way he would kind of do those little hook routes, and then come in and just burn it down the field, and nobody could touch him. I mean, the dude's unreal. Um, but he had a little injury or whatever before the combine, didn't run or didn't work out or whatever the case may be. DK would be unreal. Yeah, Brad. Imagine getting one of those guys in the second round. It would be unreal. I mean, imagine getting Hollywood Brown in the second round. Good lord, right? Thompson in the second round. I couldn't even imagine. I mean, that's to me those are starters. DK. The only thing I question about him is the 1.6% body fat. That's got to be a mistake. I heard two doctors on Twitter say that he is dangerously close to having his organs shut down, if that's the truth. I don't know what he'll either here or there. I mean, who am I to say if that's true or not? I'm not a doctor. I'm just saying what was said. But let's see here. I was looking at something real quick. Sorry about that. But I believe that the next move has got to be Sheriff. He's got to be able to get this new contract. I am just completely tired of worrying about where the money's going to come for the next move. Locking this guy up, locking that guy up. Um, but Sheriff needs to be redone, or get a new deal or whatever you're going to have to do with him, whatever verbiage you're going to use, restructure, new deal, whatever. And I think they need to figure out what's going to happen as far as either cutting guys, trading guys. It doesn't appear like anybody wants Mason Foster or Zach Brown. Let's just be honest. So if we're going to cut those guys, I think we'll save. I had it figured out before and had it written out on my other program, but I believe it's like $8 million between the two of them. Might have been 9, and move on. It's good to see the team finally kind of admit, but not admit, that they need to upgrade at the inside linebacker. I like Zach Brown, but he's a liability in coverage. All right, tall stack. And Mason Foster, he puts down a lot of tackles, but in the end, I'm not so certain, that Mason Foster is all that great covering people either. Like, to me, it seems like he's always behind the play. And I hate to beat him up over it, but, the guy also has already said that Redskin fans suck. I won't even use the word he used, but, whatever. Nah, that kind of still sits with me a little bit. Probably will never go away. And there it is right there. Foster is just not athletic enough. And I mean, that's kind of just the way it is, There's no denying that point. And it kind of stinks because obviously he wants to play here, but even with his stupid little comments, if he was a step more athletic, then he probably would have never came here anyway. He would have stayed with Tampa Bay. You know, I do actually think tight end is something to address. There are a few. Sorry, there are a few tight ends in the draft that I want to take a look at here real soon. Probably in the coming week or so. More so looking at what the mock draft will, kind of give at this point is not really a precise reading, but I kind of like to look at a stack of players from each round and say, okay, there's a chance that this guy could get picked, this guy could get picked, this guy could get picked, and then kind of, reach from the pool and kind of look at each one, and that kind of changes up each week or whatever when they change the rankings, and so I generally try to stick mocks to maybe one a month at first, and then go down to like maybe three or four, but uh, right now, my first mock I had Sweat coming to us at 15. I think that after the combine, he's a top 10 pick. Oh man, that would Brad. Imagine that actually happening. I would love that. I mean, shout out to FanSpeak by the way. That on the clock uh, tool is one of the best things that you'll ever play with or deal with or use. Whatever you want to use it for, that you just want to play around. It's fun to play around with. It's a mock draft simulator, and they're actually a sponsor here on the show. Um, can't count on Reed, Vernon Davis. He was great for us, but when we keep him and how much longer? And what do we have at Sprinkle? The thing with Sprinkle, I think that Sprinkle is a decent two-way kind of tight end. He can block and he can catch halfway decent, but he's no, Jordan Reed, and he's not athletic like Vernon Davis, or Vernon Davis maybe has lost a step from what he used to be, but still is more athletic than most tight ends. Um, Matter of fact, I don't know if everybody knows, but today was actually Vernon Davis Day in D.C. They're actually trying to petition Congress to make it a national or a holiday in D.C. or whatever. But I think that they're probably going to look to try to get Vernon to restructure his deal, take a little bit of a cut, maybe try to rework his situation so he's not a $5 million or $6 million cap hit this year. Just my opinion. I think the team would be better with him on the roster at the right price. And I honestly think at this stage of his career, he wants to stay home. He's a pillar in the community. If he went across the street or across the way to Baltimore, I don't think he would be received the same way at this point. And even though it would be the same state, obviously, but it's just not it's not the same as far as he's concerned. I don't think. I think that his team growing up was the Redskins. I think he wants to retire with us. So, in my opinion, it's almost time for us to move on from Vernon. And if he won't rework the deal, then we may have to. Jordan Reed is a sticky situation because it's like when he does stay healthy, he's really good. I mean, last year before last, he was in 15 games. He did decent. But then you start looking at it, and he hasn't had 1,000-yard receiving year in a while or ever. Is it ever? No, I think it's been 1 year he had 1,000 yards. And it seems like every year with him, it's just one thing after the other, and the guy doesn't have very good luck when it comes to these injuries either. And you kind of start feeling bad for him after a while. I had a question for the chat. How would you guys feel if the team moved up and drafted Kyler Murray? Okay, Shotgun Show says, I think I'm hoping for one of the top three quarterbacks, Haskins, Murray, lock round one. You know, I if one of those guys fell to us, I would be ecstatic. I'm kind of iffy on Haskins, and that's just from my standpoint. Haskins just feels like a stretch of reality because Ohio State quarterbacks are just never good. I'm not trying to knock Ohio State. It's just the quarterbacks never cross over well. Their running backs, yeah, they cross over well, but that's just me though. Depends on what we give up. That's a good opinion. Exactly. Yep. Um, to move up, in my opinion, from 15 high enough to take Kyler, I don't think would be worth it. We would possibly have to give up next year's number one, a player, and this year's one to get their one, and maybe even more picks. I don't like that idea. Just not a feasible plan, in my opinion. Now, I do think that they need to kind of figure out what they're going to do with Josh Morgan. Josh Morgan, listen to me. Josh Norman. I just got a text from my sister Morgan, and I was looking at it. But they need to figure out what they're going to do with Josh Norman. And if Josh Norman is going to be traded, then they need to try to get some sort of value out of it. Or if they, I don't really want them to just outright cut Josh. And the thing is, I haven't heard any talk about it, which makes me think maybe it doesn't happen, which wouldn't be all that bad of a thing, but we still keep his cap hit. And I want to see production out of that kind of cap hit. That's just my opinion. Three number ones is the price to move up to. See, I don't think we'd have to move up to number one though, Cattle Dog. I think you and I have gone back and forth on that one. Three number ones. I don't think anybody's gonna pay that to come up that far. And the Redskins, and I've said this before, the Redskins weren't necessarily stung by the RG3 trade so much as they were stung by the inability to be able to keep him healthy. That the trade itself was actually a success. He won Rookie of the Year, took us to the playoffs. We couldn't keep him healthy. And then, of course, we couldn't rehabilitate him or his, maybe, whatever the case may be. Maybe it was him, maybe it was us, maybe it was whatever. I don't like the situation at all because I had a chance to meet RG3 on an occasion, and the kid's really nice, and I thought he was going to take us places, and to see him kind of, he was kind of done dirty, and some people don't feel bad for him or whatever. Whatever, life happens. If the Cardinals don't take him, I tell you, to me, the Giants are going to really, they're going to have to really think hard about passing him at 6. They got the number 17 pick now in the draft, so they got another number one. In my opinion, if they've dropped Odell now, they've got to take a wide receiver in the first round. They've got to, because they're not going to be able to pay Sterling Sharp or Sterling Shepard. I said Sterling Sharp. Wow. Sterling Shepard next year when he comes up on his contract, because he's going to want big bucks next year. And, or maybe they do pay him. I don't know. I mean, their cap opens up by $20 million next year. Maybe they do pay him next year. But in my opinion, the Giants are just overloaded with needs all of a sudden. Well, not all of a sudden, but just even more. Getting Jabril, that's actually a good move. You got to think that Barkley is just going to get, he's going to get the workload over there in New York next year big time. Barkley is going to get a lot of carries, which is what needs to happen anyway. I see them trying to improve their line already. I don't know what's going to happen with their defense. Losing Landon is going to hurt them for a while. They can think that they're going to bounce back on that, but losing Landon is going to hurt their team. He's their number one tackler and has been for 4 straight years. So, I don't try to look at things in malcontent or maliciously, but I can tell you that it's going to be hard for them to really come back from that. I mean, he's a franchise style player, in my opinion. And a good kid too, man. If you ever go, look at what he's done with his life, he's a good kid. It's good to see somebody like that obtain where he wants to be or whatever. Now he's got to be able to prove that he's worth the kind of money that the Redskins are giving him, which is, in my opinion, a little above market value. Todd Gurley, wow. Well, for one, he'd be expensive, but I mean, he's a beast. In my opinion, If Darius Geis stays healthy, comes back and is fine off of that injury, which that's a pretty big injury for a running back. But if he comes back, the NFL is going to be in trouble because Geis is nasty, and that's I kind of wanted AP to be kind of like a buffer, but I just had this feeling like maybe he believes his market is a little higher than the Redskins see it, and I heard the Bears were interested, but that doesn't mean that their market would be higher than ours. So that we don't really know how that one's going to work out. I feel like it's definitely a mess up though if they allow Adrian Peterson to go elsewhere. That's my opinion though. I feel like that would probably hurt the Redskins' run game because they would have to push Darius Geis back earlier then, and they couldn't. Right now they're able to put AP in and just let him take the full load, and then you work the young guy in, make him feel comfortable about that injury. Once he's comfortable, then you start making him the starter, and then you start working AP in. And it works that way because then AP stays healthy, and you got Geis in control. And if he takes off like we think he's going to, then our problems will cease to exist because it'll open the pass game up, which has been the basic problem, is lack of ball movement. And that's where I sometimes have questioned Gruden's offense because he was so reliant on the pass, but you need the run to set the pass up. It seemed like he was trying to work against himself and throw the ball to set the run up, and it's like it doesn't work that way. Even in Chucky world, it doesn't work that way. I don't really understand that, but Jacksonville looking at AP too. See, I don't like seeing stuff like that. Knowing that Jacksonville has a little bit of money to spend at that position is not a good thing in our, behalf, so to speak. And the Bears looking at him is not a good thing either because I believe they really probably would use him pretty well. That offense would be set up perfect for him, actually. I'm probably going to stay on another 10, 12 minutes, guys. If anybody's got anything else that they want to add, I got something I got to do tonight, finish up for work. But I want to try to make the show more of an every week thing until maybe I get a little bit more used to it, and then maybe try to do it a couple times a week, and then work into something more, maybe a bigger schedule, a little bit more of a in-depth schedule once the season gets here. But for now, I definitely want to keep it to at least one a week, and maybe I might come in with a random, and on a Saturday night, live late night or something. But and of course, I definitely will keep making the other videos, but I'm really hoping that we have more news pop up here in the next day or so, at least in concerning a restructure or something. I know that they want to kind of be a little bit quiet. I know the Redskins a lot of times get this bad rep for being these free agent bandits, and they're going to swoop in and act like it's their first time with the Amazon gift card and run around like a kid in a candy store or something. But really, honestly, that hasn't been the way that Washington has approached free agency in quite a while. And the reason why they ran out there and got landed like that is because they have failed over and over again to fill that role for a very long time. And I think that they feel like this is the guy that they really needed. And if you pair him with a decent pass rush, which I feel like we're going to try to go out and get another edge rusher to really take things to the next level on that defense, that front four is just unbelievable. Payne and Allen, Ioannidis, Kerrigan, I really was wondering the other day, What about Junior Gillette? I see him still over there kicking himself in the tail about not taking a deal last year with us. I was thinking maybe they should bring in Gillette. I mean, we could probably get him really dirt cheap at this point. And, he could fill in well behind Ryan Anderson. He could spot fill. I think it would be, something that would be to our advantage. Just my opinion. I bet you 1 million people tonight lost their damn minds over that Odell Beckham being traded. We got anybody live still in the building tonight over here? Let's see, we got any comments here lately. Sorry, I'm stretching over here. And I apologize if there's any audio issues. I'm trying to dial this mic in and trying to get this thing right so that I don't sound like I'm muffled or anything like that. And of course, I've told everybody before, I'm new to this live thing. I've made over 500 videos on this channel, but this is like my second or third maybe live video. So I apologize if I'm not to that point yet, but that will get better, and I guarantee that. And I might even come in and do a couple games during March Madness. I don't know yet if that's 100% on yet or not, but I might. Oh, I actually didn't touch on that because I made a video last night about it, but the contract that they put together for Landon Collins was a work of art. Eric Schaefer is one of the best, executive contract money guys, bookmaker, whatever you want to call him. This man gets it done behind the scenes. While everybody's bitching about Bruce, this guy is in the cut, putting in the hours and making it work for the team. And to make it to where Landon Collins only hits our cap $4 million is insane. And then you start seeing the way that they structured the bonus down, and then the extra $6 million bonus on top of it that they can decide in the third year or second year if they want to give him. So basically, it turns it into like a 2-year deal or something to that nature. I mean, the deal gave the Redskins like two masterful outs where they can get out of the deal and not have to, be tied to it for the rest of their life. But it also gave Washington the 6th year that they can negotiate into, which was even better. Week 1 starter. I hear you, Pooh Bear. I want AP back too. Let's see. Week 1 starter. At this point right now, it's got to be Case Keenum. It's got to be. Yep, they can opt out clean. They can. 2021 is definitely the biggest hit. But I expect the 2021 cap to also grow by 15, 25 million, 30 million by then. I know that number sounds crazy now, but it's been jumping a lot lately, and it's supposed to jump even more as they go. But yeah, I mean, it's some serious numbers when you hit 2021. I mean, it's some scary numbers when you hit 2021. Some thoughts in your head kind of pop in like, wow. I mean, that's old quarterback money, But, I mean, C.J. Mosley, that's C.J. Mosley money, C.J. Mosley actually outdid him. No update yet, Greg. How you doing tonight, by the way? No update on Josh Rosen. There's actually a Cardinal fan in the chat there. He says he's cooking and listening. He thinks that we'd have to give up 3 number 1 picks to be up there and to be able to move up there and take him number 1. I told him I didn't think we'd have to move to number 1, but we definitely would have to jump the Giants. But no updates. I figure if that move does happen, which I'm kind of doubting it does, but if we had to move, if we actually were going to get the move to get Josh Rosen, I feel like we would probably have to wait until draft night to be able to get it. I would. Actually, Josh Johnson, I heard this just the other day that Josh Johnson had ankle surgery, and they may not have him back. I'm not certain if that's going to be the official end of that because it probably isn't. But yeah, I'd have to say that in my opinion, I think that probably um, Case is our starter right now. You know, when the situation originally happened when we got Case, I had immediately thought maybe it was a piece to try to trade for Kyler or for Rosen, even for the pick for Kyler or for Rosen. But after thinking about it more, I don't really know if that'll happen either. The Redskins are probably going to stay put at 15, see what's available, maybe even trade back, which is preferable if they're trying to get the most out of their picks. But at the same time, you don't want to trade too far back. And then I'm always a fan of looking at the second day and thinking, should we move up? We've got enough wiggle room now. We got 9 picks. Should we move up in the second round? Catch that guy that may have fallen that we maybe had our eye on, who nobody touched at the bottom of the first. I heard a couple people mention Daniel Jones. I'm not all that big of a fan of Daniel Jones anymore. Seeing him at the combine was just like the most underwhelming combine I ever saw in my entire life. And I knew that he was a sleeper pick to begin with, but his stock went way too high. All these mentions of Peyton Manning, and he's not that. But it is what it is. I think since Colt McCoy knows the offense, he'll be the starter. Gave Case Keenum enough time to learn the offense, inevitably. I'll give the two of stopgaps. They're both stopgaps, yep. And you know what? Twins, you might actually be 100% correct because Colt does know the offense. And I said this definitely over and over the last probably month or so. Um, in my opinion, if we could somehow another definitely know that we could keep Colt healthy, I would actually feel okay going into the season with him being the starter overall. But the thought to me is always there that after a game or two, he's going to get hurt. Then we have to worry about the next guy. And, we all know Colt's not worth starter money. He's definitely a backup. And as you said, he's definitely a stopgap. And I definitely was viewing him as that when we traded for, we made the trade for Case Keenum. I kind of like scratched my head at first, but then I saw how much we paid for Keenum. And I really think that the Broncos were horrible last year, and them being horrible killed his value, which is actually good for us in the long run. But at the same time, I think overall he's probably an upgrade from Colt, even though Colt knows the system better, which is probably why, as you stated, he'll start the year off as the starter. But I think they're going to battle it out in preseason, and we're going to see the way it goes. I know if Jay Gruden gets his way, I think Colt will definitely be the starter. But just the way I see it, I think the Case may actually beat him out. Yeah, no, Daniel Jones. Take a quarterback a trade. Take a quarterback or trade. That's actually not a bad idea. Take a quarterback or trade. Take whoever's available at 15 if you like them. Hey, Tyree Jackson. I actually looked at some tape on him, and yeah, I liked what I saw. Um, yeah, just no Daniel Jones. What's up, Cattle Dog? What you eating over there, Cattle Dog? Since they keep getting Alabama players, how about getting Nick Saban? Hey, I hear you, Greg. I'm all with you, man. Um, I doubt that we'll be able to get Saban. Saban, he's he's writing legacies right now. You know what I mean? Nick Saban is setting his place in college history. In my opinion, the only reason he would come to the NFL would be to establish uh, the thought of being like the greatest NFL coach, and I don't feel like he would come to us to try to do that, unless they paid him a boatload of money and he thought he could get it done. But I don't know, man. Whew, that would be crazy, though, right? Yeah, and they're paying him so good at Bama. You know, why would he? Yeah, Jackson is raw. He definitely wouldn't be ready to start next year. I don't think. I thought the same thing for a little bit, Brad. I was wondering if maybe that's what's going on with how they're positioning him. Like I know I heard Jay say something to the thought of they were getting a lot of calls about O'Connell and maybe him being an offensive coordinator elsewhere, and that's why they promoted him. And then I saw Jay kind of play it down a little bit with like, no, he's not going to be calling plays. That's the same thing they did with what's his name? Oh gosh, McVay. That's the same thing they did with McVay. They were like, oh, he's not going to be calling plays. Um, Maybe they've got it in the back of their mind they don't want him to fall off like McVay did and go end up with the Rams, and then they look really dumb. Um, I've said it for a long time. I've never been really all that enthused with Jay Gruden. I did like what he brought to the offense in 2015 and how they were setting things up. I now look at that and think maybe he wasn't the one game planning that. But at the same time, I've also thought that the offense was one of those offenses where it was basically set up on super easy routes, super easy plays. Each thing is done in a way that confuses the defense, and I kind of like it. And it obviously works, but you need a semi-mobile quarterback, in my opinion. RG3 would have been perfect for it if he hadn't have gotten hurt, if he could have read, the the receivers a little bit better, the coverage a little bit better. Um, Maybe if he was given a little bit more time. It just depends on how you look at it. Obviously, that's from a blast from another past. We'll always have 2012 though, people. Home fry, home fries, broccoli, and cheese steak. Oh, that sounds good. You think Rippon might go undrafted? Really? I was hearing fifth rounder. That's what I was hearing. Like fifth, sixth. You think he might drop out altogether? That would be kind of crazy. If we could get him on an undrafted rookie, oh, that would be great. Then we could get him for a restricted free agent in what, 2 years, or is it 3 years? I can't remember. But that would be great. I would enjoy that altogether because then we could have him as a developmental guy. Um, Now I'm not sure that we could duck him on the practice squad though. Somebody might try to steal him from us. Dinner, yeah, that does sound good, don't it? I'm not much of a broccoli man, but the yeah, the home fries, the shake and bake, and the chops. Oh yeah, that sounds good, man. That sounds really good, actually. I ain't had shake and bake in a long time. My peoples used to make that every, like, at least like once a week. But yeah, I like, and O'Connell. I've heard a lot of good things about him, and I know he wasn't that great of a quarterback, but obviously that doesn't mean he can't be a great coach. But I feel like he could be kind of being groomed for sure. You know, Gruden, in my opinion, this is his make or break year. This is it for him. I feel like if he doesn't come out and take us to the playoffs, and he might even be on a he has to win situation, you know, I think his job is pretty much gone. Now, I almost believe that they've kept him around this long so that the job is more attractive to other coaches. Because before Gruden came there, they were in a situation where not a lot of people really wanted that job. Shanahan made it look really bad, you know. And then obviously when Shanahan left, they had the gag order on him for a year. As soon as the year ran up, where did he go? Everybody already knows. 106.7 to tell everybody in the world the story about RG3. It's just a big circus when it comes to that. And what I'm hoping for is that we could start winning. It's like a catch 22. Everybody wants a new coach, but you got to lose to get one. Everybody wants a good quarterback next year, but you got to lose to get one. The catch is when we lose, everybody's unhappy. So it's like you can't have it both ways. You got to lose to get these great players, get a new coach, get a new this to that. But if you keep losing, then everybody's gonna get tired of watching. It's just the way it works. And the product's going to keep slipping. And I know that nobody cares about Daniel Snyder's money. Why should we, right? It's not our money, and it doesn't really affect us. And he's got plenty of it. But at the same time, we want the team to prosper and do better. Now, what really shocks me and kills me a little bit is I never thought that we would get to the point where we weren't filling stadiums up. I remember going to FedEx Field when it first opened. And it was just like, if anybody in the chat remembers going to FedEx when it first opened, it was mind-numbing how loud it was and how many people were there. I'd never seen that many people in my entire life. And it was hard for us to get tickets. I got a guy still now that I get tickets. I don't have to pay for them. But I haven't been since 2015 because I refused to make that trip, all the way from where I'm at, just outside of Raleigh. That's a 10-hour to and from trip. I refused to make that trip. And then, let alone if we lose, but it's just not a good experience in my opinion. I always want to spend the night, but then I don't want to get a hotel room, so we always end up driving back. And it's just a pain in the ass. That's all. That's the only thing I could think of. It's just a pain in the ass. And I have to search the internet down for a link to find the games because I'm down here in Panther country. But I don't miss a game. I don't miss a press conference. But at the same time, it's a heavy burden to carry when your team doesn't put it on the field like you think. But then, I feel like sometimes maybe the fan base really, revolts in a way that there's really no winning to it, because if the team continues to lose and you get the draft picks that you wanted, you get a new coach that you wanted, then the team is still crappy though. Like, what are you cheering? You're cheering a crap team. But I'm tired of being stuck at 7-9 too. I keep hearing a lot of opposing fan bases think we need to have like a 4-12 season, 3-13 season to get us back to winning. I can't do that. I can't agree with that. I can't. What's up, Colby Mason? If we make the playoffs, how long did they extend Gruden? At least 2 years if we were to make the playoffs. I think they'd give him at least 2. And the reason I say at least 2 is because the first year would be like the real year. The second year would be a dummy year, in my opinion. You think Gruden has had a lot of stability the past couple of years, just a lot of bad luck. He has had horrible luck with injuries. Now, that is definitely the truth. Colby Mason, last game I went to was with the Bills last year. They were in the playoffs. Ugh. Yeah, I hear you there. Niners making moves. Seahawks ain't making no moves, huh? 2012 was a great ride. Wheels fell off of that bus quick. You damn right they did. I'm going to tell you something, Shotgun Show. That was one of probably the best feeling seasons of my life, even though I've been around for all of the Super Bowls. I was there for, I was watching. I was little in the first one, don't get me wrong, but I watched all of them. I remember all of the happenings. I remember crying my eyes out in 84. One more in 84. It didn't happen. I remember crying my eyes out over it. I remember thinking in 87 that we were done. And then we come back and won the Super Bowl. Next year, Doug was hurt. Remember? We were doing good back in 89. We got the team got better. 91, the best year we ever had, But 2012, I was making videos on here, and it's just unreal. I remember making a video and saying, guys, it's not over. And I remember everybody commenting like, dude, give it up, it's over. We were, You know, there's no way this is going to work. There's no way your team is doing anything. Y'all are done. And they just started stringing wins together. RG3 looked like magic. Man, I don't know. I really believe had he not gotten hurt in that playoffs that against Seattle, I really believe we'd have made a big run that year. And it really, to this day, it still sticks with me, you know. And I know a lot of fans were quick to dismiss RG3 for whatever reason. I have my doubts, and you know, and however much they kind of bother me a little bit, I still, you know, question why people didn't like RG3. But a lot of people say it was the whole RG me thing. Whatever the case may be, like I said, I met the kid, one of the nicest 20-some-year-old kids you're ever going to meet. Did not feel that way towards him at all, and he didn't have to be nice to me, you know. But I mean, that's the business, you know. We didn't want to pay him X amount of dollars, not knowing what we had. You know, I'm a fan, but at the same time, I understand it's a business. You know, I'm a fan of the team, not a fan of the players. And that was a situation where it really got me, man, because it really sent a shockwave down the fan base. I mean, you know, we had like a little bit of a civil war going on, you know. People choosing sides, arguments. Oh, they definitely travel well. Hey, I have yet to see a game, Brad, I have yet to see a game where the Panthers have had the majority of fans in that Charlotte stadium. I'm telling you. I have yet to see a game. What always ends up happening there is they always show the panned out shots of the crowd, and when they do, they don't show, you know, one side or one side or the other. If you actually go look at the above shots, you'll see more burgundy and gold. Oh, what's up? That's my buddy Gangrene David. Anybody's not subbed to him, make sure y'all sub to him. Y'all, everybody should be subbed to Cattle Dog as well. But that's my buddy there, Gangrene David. He's a Jets fan. He makes videos too. Young guy, he's in college. What's happening, man? How you doing, David? I know this free agency period is completely insane. Yeah, 91,000 exactly. When I'm behind y'all in the chat, but I'm gonna catch up. 91,000. You went to A&T. Ooh, had a blast. I bet. We lost 2 years in a row. Still was fun. Me and my nephew were talking about going to that. Up until 2015, we went to FedEx every year for the Dallas game. Me and him, you know, big time rivalry there because he's a Cowboy fan. I'm a Redskin fan. He wasn't even born for the first two. He was there for 3 years old for the third. I want to see when the one Super Bowl. Remember for the rest of your life. I hear you, man. You were sitting right behind him in that playoff game. What's happening 24/7? How you doing tonight? Possible signing of Justin Houston. You know, I actually thought about that when I saw a guy on here make a video talking about Justin Houston. You know, it would have to depend on obviously the price tag, but at 30 years old, I think Justin Houston might still have some gas in the tank. I mean, I'm just wondering if maybe the Chiefs had made a mistake there. I know they felt they had to do it, but that might be a good move to think about getting him. 24/7. You know, what's his name from San Diego, the receiver? Is it Tyrell Williams? Has he signed anywhere yet? I actually were wondering if the Redskins were going to be in on him or not. You know, I really did. Kobe, you think the Cowboys? Oh, so do I think the Cowboys getting Earl Thomas? I don't know. You know, I think the Cowboys are approaching their cap situation very responsibly lately, and I think they're worried they can't afford to be able to pay somebody like Earl Thomas versus how old he is. I mean, it's them being smart, but at the same time, you know, the toys are bright and shiny for Jerry. He wants to play. You know, I think Steven is the one who keeps the toys, you know, at arm's reach. Like, no, Dad, you can't play with that one today. You know, and that's a good thing for Dallas. It keeps their books clean. Now, well, hearing Jerry said he's going to pay him $30 million was like, woo. We're talking about Dak. Paying Dak $30 million? I know I got a couple people that disagree with me on that fact, but I don't think Dak Prescott's worth $30 million. I just don't. Can anybody tell me a reason why Dak Prescott would be worth $30 million? I don't see it. Browns? You think the Browns get Earl Thomas? Really? That'd be crazy. Yeah, Gangrene's got good content, Cattle Dog. Um, he makes good videos. I think he goes to games a lot too, man. Rumors. Hey, man, I love rumors during free agency periods. I remember when back when Serrata was the GM. We used to sit on MySpace and in this one little chat room we had, and at midnight would just wait for reports about the Redskins signing people, and by 2 o'clock we already have a couple signings. Man, free agency frenzy used to be the fun stuff. And nowadays they do it at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Washington's all responsible and shit. I take Case Keenum for $3.5 million over Dak Prescott for 32. Man, now Cowboy fans would tell you, well, Prescott has beaten your team 3 out of 4 times he's faced you, or whatever the I don't even know. I don't even know what I think it's 3 out of 4. We seem to just shoot ourselves in the foot every time we play the Cowboys now, except for when we beat them that last year. With him at the helm, anyway. With we could keep Zeke, under control. It's just everything else seems to fall apart. They don't really even do anything special. We just can't stop anything. We forget how to tackle, or we get holding calls off, the whole second half. Questionable there, but hey, what are we gonna do? 2-year window. Le'Veon going to the Ravens would be insane. Can y'all think about that for a second? Le'Veon Bell in Baltimore, seeing the Steelers 2 times a year. Could y'all imagine how intense that rivalry is going to be behind him being there? Brown's working on a deal. Oh, crap. What's up, Mont Kicks? What's up, NBA Report? How y'all doing tonight? I don't know if I missed anybody. How's everybody doing tonight? Starting to think the Skins are going to ride with Case this season and build around him in the draft. They might draft a quarterback in the mid-rounds. That's what we were talking about a minute ago. A lot of people think that maybe Colt might win the job to start the year and then Case take over. That could be something that happens too. Colt knows that system pretty well. But, do we feel comfortable with Colt as the quarterback? I'm just wondering. Landon Collins left the game up for safeties when he got his deal. Oh yeah, I know what you're saying. I think Dallas scared to spend the money. Yeah, he did. He drove the price. He drove the price up. You know what I mean? He drove the price up. He drove the price of everything up. Trying to keep the content a little PG. Otherwise, I'd say something else. But he drove the price up. The street price is definitely up right now, and it's. Some things are messed up with the situation and the safety market is off the chain this year too. By the way, the people that are involved on it, and the players that were cut right before the deadline or whatever you want to call it, it's been an unbelievable year, man. I'm blown away by some of the moves I'm seeing. The Browns, the Browns are going for it. They said the hell with it, I did not see the Pooh Bear. You making me chuckle right now, and the reason why is because Stephen A. Smith. What is going on with this man, y'all? By now I imagine most of you have seen that. But what is going on with Stephen A. Smith thinking that these stupid things, man? I mean, first Dwayne Haskins is a running quarterback. Now Tress Way is a quarterback. Colby, the problem is, and you're probably right as far as being in Gruden's system. You could do a lot of, crossing routes and a lot of different fades and situations where you can kind of work Colts arm for the betterment, but you're going to have an issue getting the ball down the field. That's my issue with Colt at the helm. I don't feel like he has the strongest arm. I'm not certain. You know, to me, he's a serviceable quarterback in a tight situation. He's a backup. I think he knows the system well enough to be our starter in a bind. Yeah, the Browns are crazy stacked twins. I mean, if you think about it, would you guys be willing to go 0-16 though to get to where they are right now, and then stack up picks and trade all their players and be the laughing stock of the league for a couple of years? You know, to get where they are right now, where it kind of looks like they're really stacking the team together. Would you guys be willing to do that? Yeah, he float. Yeah, yeah. He does, Colby, and you know he might actually be a halfway decent play action. You know, inside 25-yard. You know, plays type of quarterback. But anything outside of 25 yards, I start getting worried. And it's not for lack of Colt being able to play or knowing to play or having the ability. It's just he doesn't have arm strength. And I've wondered for a while if it's did he hurt his shoulder in college or something? It seems like he's kind of got that Chad Pennington kind of complex, you know, where he just doesn't have it. 49ers expecting to pay for it $87 million. Whew. That's a lot of jack. Yeah, I saw the Redskins deal. You know, in the last year of that deal isn't guaranteed at all. So basically, it wasn't an $84 million deal, but still, $84 million across 6 was big enough for me. 87.5. This free agency, these numbers have gotten crazy. Yeah, they just paid exactly. So that's between two players. That would be like, wow, 137 million between two players. That's crazy. You were hoping to see you knock him on his ass twice a year. Hey, I hear you 24/7. You know, Odell. I don't know how you guys felt when T.O. was around, but T.O. was my kick toy. You know, me and my boy Psycho. I don't know if you guys remember Psycho Ironskin used to make videos over here, but me and my boy Psycho, he used to be our kick toy on all the trash talk pages and everything. We used to go talk a whole bunch of mess with people. And T.O. was the easiest guy to make pictures on, make videos on, just all around pick on, you know. And I was thinking we were going to have some years of being able to do this with Beckham. Obviously, we had, you know, the fight with the net, you know. And then didn't he kiss the net the next week or something? I don't know. This guy, you know. He's a little eccentric. That's the word I want to use. What's up, playoff skins? Hey, so his I haven't been able to see it yet, but any of the Giants fans out and about talking about that move? I saw some people talking about. I saw some non-Giants fans. I saw a couple Cowboy fans talking about it. They thought it was kind of funny. I'm actually surprised. I mean, wasn't Peppers like a guy that they were thinking was like kind of a stretch, even though he did real well in college? What's up, Jacob? Are they really mad? How you doing tonight, Jacob? Colt been hurt since his yep. You just don't feel he would last. Mount kicks. You know, that's a good point. And you know, he's a gamer. I actually like Colts. You know, his heart is there, and in small spurts, that guy can be your guy. Like, you know, he's actually a really good backup. He's what you always want in a backup. You know. Yeah, this free agency has been off of the chain. I am actually completely blown away. First of all, we have Odell Beckham in another city now. Let that sink in. Cattle dog, you need to get back, man. They won't let you. They won't let you shoot stuff in the desert no more, will they? I was getting ready to say you need to get back to shooting stuff in the desert. you ought to go over to Cattle Dog. You ought to go over to this website called bit.tube, okay? And you could upload anything you want there. They have no rules, and link it back on your channel so that people could click it and see the video over there of you shooting out in the in the desert or whatnot. And you know YouTube can't take it down then. Take it easy, Shotgun Shell. I appreciate you stopping by tonight. We'll try to do things more regularly in the future. Rest in peace, Brown sideline equipment. West going to be a new battle. Hey, I'm going to tell you something, man. The West has been pretty strong for a few years, man. I know that you had the Harbaugh, situation where Harbaugh left, and then you know the Cardinals have had to rebuild now because you guys have had. I mean, let's face it, you guys have had a quarterback situation since Kurt Warner left. But you've tried to patch a guy here, patch a guy there, and you guys have finally ran into some situation where you had some value, to be able to either keep the guy you got or pick something else up new. And the Cardinals, I think, are going to pick back up quick. You guys, if you keep that 3-4 going, it pick up some more some more tools. I think you'll be great. I personally don't think that you guys need another quarterback, even though I want Rosen for my team. A lot of people made good points about Rosen being too much of an attitude in DC and not being able to mesh well with our locker room. I don't really know if that would be the case or not, but it would be nice to see. 24/7. I was thinking about that earlier. I said something I believe earlier about I believe that Golden Tate may have seen the way that this free agent market is shaped, and it may be, I don't know, man, a deal may be hard to work with him now because I think he's going to want to get paid. And I think he's still got skills enough to get paid, maybe a 1 or 2 year deal. But I think his market versus what we really would want to work with is kind of separate, and his age is a problem because we can't sign him to a longer term deal. I would love it if we could get him for a short term, kind of affordable hit. I said it earlier. I think that what's his name, Tyrell Williams from the Chargers. I think that he would be a good fit if we could somehow get him. Obviously, then at that point, I would be more willing for the team to try to reach out on a 5 or 6 year deal. Probably wouldn't go with a 6 year deal because he's not going to want to tie himself down at that age. 4 or 5 year deal, and try to lock him in. I'm not certain if he would be down for that though, but it'd be nice to see. I know that he's got several suitors. The Redskins would obviously have to make moves to be able to bring him in. Pooh Bear, I got a video coming. I don't really want to enter into that conversation just quite yet, but I got a video coming, and I've been saying it, and I know that some people that follow my videos are probably going to say he's this guy saying it again, but I'm going to put it out soon. But stay tuned on that subject. But I can tell you that I think that they need to do something with him this year. This is an identity year for Josh Doctson. Got to finish your truck next weekend, Cattle Dog, and then do some side jobs. Hey, man, make that money, Cattle Dog. I would love to re-sign Ha Ha, but it would have to be something where he worked with us, kind of how Landon did, where his hit would either be low this year or he'd have to do a 1 year prove it, and we'd be able to try to work it next year. I looked a little bit at Tyree Jackson Colby. I need to look more. I mean, he looks huge. The problem with Tyree, it seems maybe he's not going to be ready to go quite yet. He's going to take him a year to get ready, and maybe that's what we need. But at the same time, I think that the way that the setup is right now, a rookie that we would take would need to try to take the helm by midseason if we're not doing well. I'm not certain Jackson would be that guy. See, I was looking at Jackson as kind of like maybe they could get him like in the 4th or 5th round. Obviously, I don't think we have a 4th round pick, but we got 2/3. But maybe we could get him in the 5th round, and he could be like a Dak kind of player, where we could maybe in a situation where we had to stick him in, he could work. after he's developed a little bit, and then we don't pay a lot. That's what I was thinking, but then I started looking at his tape, and he's not a lot like Dak. And I like his arm, and I like what I've seen so far, but he's got some holes there that need some, he just needs some time. I don't think he's quite ready yet. Rosen's a good player, man. Looking at his college tape, Cattle Dog. Obviously, I could look at you guys tape, but there is good tape from last year from you guys. But I was looking at his college tape the other day, and the kid can play. But did he run on a upbeat or an up tempo offense in college where they didn't really like, kind of like the old Bills used to running gunnish? It'd be nice, Skins. Hey, playoff Skins. I'd love to be able to jack them for about 20 mil, 30 mil, something like that. Yeah, I made a comment today. I was saying something like, "How does a team end up with 100 million in cap space?" And somebody told me that they'd have a credible front office, or a smart front office. I thought to myself, wait a minute, 100 million in cap space? There's only one team with that much, so there's only one credible front office. I don't know. I'm confused. But the Colts had a lot to be able to throw down and get somebody. I think they were stacking. They know they're going to pay some players soon. Yeah, it is, Brad. Paul Richardson. See, that's a name that everybody forgets that we even have Paul Richardson because he got hurt last year. And I think a lot of people have Richardson in the category of being overrated, but he's actually underrated, and he couldn't stay, completely healthy his first season, or it might have been season or two. But people up in Seattle loved him, and he's got some speed. We saw some breaks last year. They had that one play. I don't know if you guys remember. I know that he got really bad at the end of the season, so you might have tried to forget. But he had that one play. I think it might have been against the Giants where he caught the ball, it fell down, nobody touched him, and he got up and went in for the touchdown. Um, and he had a couple other long balls that he caught. I actually might get back to making more highlight videos soon, but just been caught up with work lately and getting stuff accomplished with that. And my daughter graduates next couple months, so situations are kind of hectic. Yeah, they really didn't do too much. Trey Boston and Shane Ray. I like Shane Ray. He slinged it all over. Detroit is, yeah, and I'm seeing that too, Cattle Dog. It does look like Detroit. What's his name? Patricia over there. Does look like they're trying to pick up a lot of New England players, but they don't have Belichick. You know, it's already been proven, man. If you don't have Belichick, then it doesn't matter. I think he did sign a 1 year deal, didn't he? Or was it a two? I don't. I know that they balked on his original deal. I know that was the Ravens, wasn't it, that balked on his original deal. I'm not certain. What's up, Jared? How you doing tonight? So your 49ers just got D four. That's what we were. Guy was just in here talking about how that was a big contract. Oh, what's up, Big D? I didn't see you up there, man. Um, I agree with you though, Big D. I like Shane Ray, man. I haven't seen a lot with Trey Boston, but I like Shane Ray. I like Shane Ray since the draft that year. I told a bunch of people that I thought maybe he was an ideal person for us, but I think he went a couple picks before we picked. Didn't he come out the year that the Kerrigan came out? Was it the year Kerrigan came out? I can't remember fully, but I remember looking at his film and saying, "Man, he looks like he could be a good player." 87.5 million. Woo! Mm. Man, these players are getting some serious money now. When you start looking at how much they get, though, they ain't get nothing compared to what these NBA guys are getting. I mean, phew, like the worst NBA player. You guys could go pick a random sub player, sub good player, sub premier player, whatever, and he's gonna make more than most of these players, man. Been good, Jared. Been real good, bro. You know what though, Cattle Dog? Quan Alexander is good, but he is coming off injury. But Quan Alexander is actually good. But I see your point. They gave him 50 and then 87.5. That's serious. That's a lot of jack. Hey, Redskin fans, what y'all think about Pierre Garcon? Would y'all bring him back? I thought about him the other day, you know. I think maybe we could get him for a semi affordable contract comparative to what he was at before. I mean, he went to the 49ers and got some serious cash. Um, yeah, like a 1 year, exactly. Like a 1 year. And, you know, I would want him to come back on a 1 year because he wanted to be with us. Like, if he didn't want to be with us, then I wouldn't want to mess with it. You know what I mean? All right, Hunter, you got to take. Okay. Take it easy, Hunter. You go take care of that, bro. Yeah, we should definitely go get him. I think it, man. If he's as long as he's not looking for big bucks, I'd say yes. I believe the Redskins got to make a move on Zach Brown and Mason Foster soon. Okay, Hunter, take it easy. Later on, Brad. Yeah, I think I'm gonna wrap it up too, guys. It was good kicking it with y'all tonight. Um, I'm probably going to start scheduling these more often and making it to where you know a day or two beforehand, asking everybody what time frame might work for people that they might want to come in and chat or whatever. So just keep your eye on the community tab. I like Zach Brown too, Pooh Bear. The only thing is it seemed like last year, like he just wasn't, you know, on the same page with the team and the coaches and he said somebody he saw the writing on the wall. I feel like the team thinks that he's just not what they're looking for. I obviously it ain't like a situation like it was with DJ because DJ they cut, which I thought was a dumb move, but it is what it is. But thanks to everybody for stopping by. Um, I actually had a pretty good time tonight, uh, hanging out or whatnot. And next time we'll see if we can't chop it up again. Maybe make it a little longer. I don't know. Hour and a half. I started getting a little tired there. But that's about all I got. Everybody take it easy. Peace.